It blows my mind, bro. I mean, for somebody in wrestling to tell him, oh, bro, you'll always have a job here. We're never going to release you. I would laugh right in that person's face. I mean, how, listen, I understand this guy is a little younger. I get it. But, bro, this is the wrestling business. And, bro, this is not forever.
What's going on, everybody? This is Dr. Chris Featherstone here for yet another episode of The Wrestling Outlaws. I'm here with the two outlaws himself, Outlaw EC3, NWA World's Heavyweight Champion, Outlaw Vince Russo, former WCW World Heavyweight Champion, and you might as well just call me the Sheriff, ladies and gentlemen. Dr. Chris Featherstone here to lay down the law and start with the first topic of the night, which is the unfortunate release of Trevor Lee, which caught him by surprise. But we were just talking backstage because we were listening to the Busted Open interview that he was talking about, that he was on, and he was talking about being surprised and being told just less than a week ago that he'll always have his job and he was basically secure. And Vince, you were making some comments about that. Share your thoughts as far as what you were sharing after hearing that.
I was just saying, Chris, it blows my mind how there are people, wrestlers in the wrestling industry, that have no clue of how it works. It blows my mind, bro. I mean, for somebody in wrestling to tell him, oh, bro, you'll always have a job here. We're never going to release you. I would laugh right in that person's face. I mean, how, listen, I understand this guy is a little younger. I get it. But, bro, this is the wrestling business. And, bro, this is not forever. And everybody's run comes to an end. It's not a matter of if. It's just a matter of when. Everyone's run comes to an end, bro. I did my show with Stevie Ray today. One of the greatest tag teams in the history of wrestling. Harlem, he came to an end with their run. Everybody does, bro. So for somebody to say, oh, bro, you're always going to have a job here, we're never going to, that's comical. But the fact that you're literally in the business and you don't understand how this works, bro, I don't understand that, man.
EC3, as someone who unfortunately has been released from WWE.
Nothing unfortunate about it. It was supposed to happen. Everything's happened as it happens.
Sure, but I imagine the money was really, really good in WWE, and
I care about money. I care about the job.
I'm all for people making some really good money, so I'm a fan of that. Yeah. So, but I respect your perspective, though, for sure. So as someone, in that spot, if you were told, just what Trevor Lee was told or Cameron Grimes, if you were told by an executive, hey, C3, don't ever worry about that. You're always going to keep your job. What would your gut, your visceral reaction be after hearing that?
Well, if you're young and naive and you still believe in the goodness and decency of majority of people, especially those within the confines of this dirty, awful, filthy business, you'd feel, well, I voiced my concerns and they gave me an answer and they have no reason to lie. Like, why would they lie to me? Whereas maybe they can clue me. You'd expect honesty, and that is the flaw of human nature sometimes. It's baffling to me why, and I have a couple ideas who probably this high-level executive could be, would just not be honest. Like, because when you're a talent and you're unsure and you're job scared constantly, reassurance is key. And if your gut's telling you something and you're feeling this way, and he's looking at it from the business perspective, as he said, he hasn't been working, he's making a good salary, like something along the lines of a proper answer perhaps there'll all be evaluations, and it is a business. Like, I think I'm a big fan of your work. I think you have a lot of talent. I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen, but that's just the nature of the beast. He can at least take that and go, okay, maybe I need to make plans just in case. But to be outright lied to, and that person probably knowing it's coming, is sinister, it's sadistic, and it's what happens. There's countless talents that have been told things like that similarly. I've been told things like that similarly and then been fired. Like, I would say a guy like Wesley Blake was told he would have a job for life. If he's not in the ring, he's going to be coaching in the ring. He does some guest spots as a coach, but he was fired. I remember coming back personally from injury with really bad concussion right before the pandemic and being told, we're so happy you're back. Come WrestleMania after that, we have big plans for you. I know they weren't using you right. I've been talking to them. I know how gifted you are to speak. You look fantastic. Like, there's going to be something for you really soon. Fired. Okay. Like, why lie? Pardon my language. I'm sorry, Chris. But why? Because people are evil. And unfortunately, our heroes, the Hall of Fame is lined with filthy, dirty, rotten liars. So,
can I throw something in there, Chris? That's, again, we always get down to psychology, bro. So much of my heat when I was in the wrestling business came because, Chris, I was that guy that told them the truth. Okay, because, bro, like when I'm sitting there with Vince McMahon and he's talking about certain talents, and I know that this talent has no chance in hell. And now when this talent's not used, they don't know what's going on. They come to Vince Russo, and I said, listen, here's Vince's thoughts on you. You've got to do this, that, and the other thing. Bro, I remember sitting down with Bradshaw and who was the other blackjack, bro? The new blackjacks.
Oh gosh, it was JBL and it was Mulligan, wasn't it?
Yeah, not Mulligan. It was who was the tag team that just went in the Hall of Fame? Rotundo and Wyndham.
Oh, Barry Windham.
I remember sitting down with them and telling them the new blackjacks are never going to get over.
Oh, that was doing the NWA gimmick.
Yeah, this is never going to get over. This is never going to work. I was being honest with them. Well, bro, because I was honest with them, I then had heat with them. So I came to the conclusion, bro, that there are some talents that literally wanted to be lied to. They couldn't take bad news and they couldn't take the truth. And I was the bad guy for telling them the truth. And that was always odd to me, Chris, because, in any job, I'm sure you want to know where you really stand. If there is a chance of you getting fired, what do I need to work on? What can you smarten me up to? What are the conversations about me behind closed doors? But a lot of times when you share that and it's not what they want to hear, then you've got heat with them. And now, what's the psychology behind that?
Just wishful thinking, just and just that type of fantasizing that for some odd reason, after looking at all the list of other people who were released, you feel like you're just kind of Teflon and impenetrable, and you're relying on such of the you want this so badly that you're willing to be delusional and experience confirmation bias galore, like on steroids, just for the sake of hearing what you want to hear and believing it to be true. And it goes back to my question that I was going to ask you with what you just said. Someone like a Trevor Lee, for instance, who had had a pretty solid NXT run toward the end. I think he became North American champion. He was in the $1 million title feud with LA Knight, which was actually one of his peak moments in NXT brought Ted DiBiase back too for a little while. That was cool. And the To the Moon, the fans got into it. Never grew legs, never caught steam at all on the main roster. Knowing that about him, like he knew that this was like his lot in life, essentially in the WWE, and also, you know, seeing high level talent such as Karrion Kross, Bray Wyatt, Braun Strowman, you know, like those people being released over the past few years. Yes, they came back, but they were released. What would make him think that he would keep his job secure if someone like a Bray Wyatt and a Braun Strowman, two former world champions, got released? Why do you think his job was secure despite that comparison?
I would think he would think that because he's exceptionally gifted fundamentally, and he's very talented within the ring, but like the way he would be a very good coach, and he will be one day. So I think that might be always the backup thing. They say you'll have a job for life. Like, you'll probably be a coach too. He's got a great mind. He was really ahead of his time. At least when I worked with him in TNA, it's like conceiving finishes where somebody that probably lied to him, who does understand the business, notices that about him. Yeah, you'd be a great producer. So I think the job for life, that would be something he would possibly believe. Like, yeah, maybe if I'm not going to be a top guy here, you know, I'll have a good run, and then I'll segue into a backstage role. I can see him believing that. And I think he will in the future be very good at all of those things.
So why didn't they give that to him? Like, why wouldn't they give that? Like, if you're thinking about like,
because there's only so many thoughts. He's young, but like I could see why he would believe that, and I could see why this lying sack of ass would say that. But like he was getting fired, and that wasn't in the cards, so that's why he would believe it. But that's not what it would be.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's unfortunate that you know the whole let's go ahead and make you feel secure just to stab you in the back, man. That's unfortunate.
It's you're not stabbing somebody in the back if you tell them the truth.
Correct.
This culture, everything, your relationships, and this is to anybody watching and listening, your life has more meaning if you just tell the truth.
Yep.
Like, why lie?
Yep.
Yeah, and why go out of your way to lie? But like, I can see being caught in the moment and you don't want to break someone's, but like, don't lie, and your life is so much better. I don't lie. Okay? And I've gotten canceled. I've gotten crap in the comments. I don't lie. And I'm fine with it. Because I'm telling you the truth. So
it's bracing yourself versus getting an unexpected gut punch. You know what I mean? It's like if he were told last Friday, you might be wanting to pack your bags because we're probably going to let you go in a few days, as opposed to, yes, you got a job, boom, you're fired. It's a whole different take with the same type of information.
Yeah, like when I got fired the second time, like I've never been more relieved in my life. The first time I was angry and promised vengeance. The second time, there's a pandemic going on, world's crashing and burning, everything's a mess. But I was happy. But like, I even came off of the conversation where we're very happy you're back. We got these big plans for you. We're going to do this thing after WrestleMania. But when it happened, the second I saw the number, I'm like, of course we'll get. I knew it. I knew it. Paul, you were a liar. Hello, hi, Mark. I get it. Yeah, you're having a tough day, man. No worries. I'm not worried about it at all. I'm gonna be okay. Maybe see you down the road. All right. Appreciate everything you did. Thank you. Done. Like, because I knew. But then he was not gonna know, because why would he think people are so bad, just awful, that they can't have any semblance of honesty? Even now, I'd say the one thing that maybe changed without Vince there, that like with the TKO, that maybe the wrestling crap is finally cut out, but there's still wrestling people involved, and there will always be. So like, no matter how tight the front office may be and how hot the product's going to get, as long as those people are around, they just don't know how to act as humans. They're so far gone.
Vince, take us back to as far as just the time, like what would make Vince wake up one day and say, let's just do a mini sweep of who's in the back, who's on the roster, and let's do. I know that for a long time it was typically that spring cleaning of releases that happened quite a bit when Vince was around. What's the rhyme or reason, from what you can theorize based on your experience there, of just some, like today, like why was Trevor released?
Real simple, bro. Vince was very simple. And bro, like I got to be honest with you, I think I'm a lot like Vince in this aspect. Vince would look at somebody and just not see it. He would just not see it. So in other words, bro, he would let JR do his work. JR would sign somebody to a contract, you know, because JR did all the scouting and everything. Then once he came into he's on the main stage, you know, Vince is sitting back and watching and observing. And then, bro, once Vince gets in his mind, it ain't happening. Like this guy's never going to get over. And you know, Vince wasn't looking for good little hands. Vince was looking for stars. And if in Vince's mind, he knew you were never going to be a star, bro, you were never going to change his mind. And I feel like I'm kind of the same thing. I feel I'm a good judge of character. I can look at somebody and say, bro, that dude's going to get over, and that guy's never going to go over. And that's how Vince was. I think Vince totally understood the qualities it took to be a star.
Yeah.
And if he did not see that star power, bro, he wasn't going to give you the right time of day.
Yeah.
This is why I would have thrived in the Attitude Era, because this guy sees it. But Vincent,
he was very simple when it came to that, Chris. Like, he would just know, like, it's not the it, bro. We talk about it all the time, Chris. The it factor, the it factor,
the intangible. Yeah.
I mean, again, like I said, bro, I've never worked with EC3, but I can remember when I first saw the package on TV with him and Spud, and they were doing their thing with Dixie. You see the it factor.
Yeah.
You see it, and you know it, and you know what it feels like. And on the other hand, bro, you just see guys and you're like, bro, that guy will never get over in 20 years. Never, you know, and Vince was a real good judge of character of that.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Do share EC3.
Well, like, I mean, I'm just listening to The Rock on an old Joe Rogan podcast today, and he's a real good judge of character. Don't stop smiling. They love it when you smile. The guy got booed out of every building.
Oh, I think that's two different, two completely different things.
He would always be set in his ways too, and when he set his mind on something, he rarely could be proven wrong unless it just happenstantially happened. Like, Rock should never even been back in the nation. Like, they really threw him a bone. He was probably, any other time frame, Rock would have been fired after he got hurt. The Ringmaster? Dude.
I'm talking about two different things. You're talking about two different things, though, bro. Like, he saw something in The Rock and he saw something in Austin, but the creative sucked. Like, the creative sucked, but he saw something in the performer. But the gimmick that he tried to put on them, a lot of times that would fall short.
He changed after you left. Like, 2020 Vince is a totally different human being than I think. It seems like 1999 to 2000s Vince, I would have like ran through a wall for. Well, 2020 Vince is like, just, I'm not sad of what's going on in his life right
now. Vince, have you seen, do you ever recall a moment where Vince McMahon did change his mind as far as a character and realized that this is probably better than my initial judgment?
Probably, bro. And again, this goes right back to EC3, what EC3 just said. Bro, Billy Gunn was freaking rockabilly, going nowhere. That had to be one of the worst gimmicks. And at the same time, Road Dogg was the roadie, which he was as entertaining as crap in that role. He was really good. But I got to give Vince all the credit in the world because he saw these two guys together. And that's how the New Age Outlaws were. He saw, and bro, I got to tell you, man, when he pitched that to me, and all I could see was rockabilly, and I was like, Vince, like, are you sure, man? I don't see it. And bro, because it was kind of like his baby, he worked more closely with those two guys than I ever saw him work with anybody else because it was his idea. He was going to make sure that it got over. Yeah. So that's one case where I really specifically remember, like, we had two guys and you would have never thought in a million years they were going to, make the money they did.
That's good advice to the upcoming young wrestler when we toss around the word politics and backstage, innuendo and things like that. What he just said is super important because you can have all the great ideas in the world. You can write them down. You can put them in a nice binder and hand them to somebody. Two things happen. One, the person you're talking to, you're thinking about yourself all day, your pitch all day, talking to them all day. You have the conversation. You're relieved. It's over. That person has 20 to 30 more people doing the exact same thing. So telling somebody something doesn't work. Sometimes you have to show them. But number two, to what Vince said, like, when you have a great idea, pitching it is one thing, but working and collaborating with the person and sort of incepting them the idea where they feel like it's their own will get you everywhere because they want and they will work harder for their ideas over yours because they're theirs. And I have this same thing when I'm dealing with talents and Exodus and young talents in NWA. Like, I don't want to take credit for anybody, but if my little thing made this person go from nobody into something, I feel good. I'm justified. My stock is raised because then people know they can come to me and, there's a return on investment. So just think about that to the boys.
People are more prone to nurture their own baby before nurturing someone else's. So that's indeed what you both have talked about with Vince and yourself as far as your ideas nurturing your baby. So I can definitely understand that.